Hey, what's up? I'm playing Walk, and today I'm going to help a couple of people out, because I've noticed that in some games, the movement is completely wrong. You'll have people phasing through things, and overall it's just annoying to, I guess, to the actual game, person who made the game. Sometimes it can be annoying to people playing the game. So I am going to tell you how to stop that in Game Maker. First things off, you'll need to create a sprite. You can just create your own sprite, but I'm just going to make a really simple. There we go. Blue. Simple blue square. Alright. It's original, I think. But yeah. Nothing too fancy. So, here we go. Just a couple of things. There we go. Really simple. The red's the collision, blue's the player, right? Okay, next thing is you need to make two objects. Okay, so the first object you want to select a sprite. This object here is going to be our walls. You want to check the walls to be solid, because that means that you're going to be colliding against them. And you can have them not solid, but that takes a lot more to do. And we're going simple. Okay, you can give your objects a name if you want, but yeah. Again, I'm not going to do that. Okay. You don't want to have the player object as solid because that will stuff your thing up. Okay, so just make sure it's visible. Make sure this is visible. Later on, you can check the solid object to be invisible so that you don't see it. And that I use that quite a bit. And I might explain it in a later tutorial, but this one, just simple. Okay. So we've got this object, it's got our player object, and this object is completely set up. You don't need to touch that ever again. It's completely set up, unless you want to make it invisible. So this object here is visible and it's not solid. Okay. First off, you have to add an event. You may be tempted to use this collision event. Do not use it. It is the spawn of Satan. If you use a collision event, it will screw you over so many times. It may be simple at the start, but later, as you create better games, it will really screw you over. So do not use it. Do not think about using it. Forget you ever saw it. Do not click on it. Well, remember you saw it, but do not click on it. It is a pain. Okay, so do not use that collision event. It is the most annoying thing, because it can screw over an object in many different ways. Unless you know how to get around it, but to be honest, it's much better just to not use the collision event at all. Okay, so that's one thing I had to point out. So we're going to add a keyboard. Can go keyboard down, keyboard up. As I said, I'm going to be really simple with this one, right? So, first off, you want to do is you want to create a jump event, right? And this pretty much says, well, when go to this position when the keyboard is pressed. And we've got a left event, and left would be -5. So that's saying every time, whenever the left button is pressed, change the x-axis by -5. Oh yeah, make sure you check this relative box here, because if you don't check it, you're also going to have problems. So, yeah. Because relative pretty much means take the position it's at and go to the position relative to it. If you don't check the relative button, it goes to the absolute -5 position, which is technically off screen, depending how big your sprite is and where the center of the sprite is. That's more details. And what you want to do next is you want to check for collision. Okay? And you want to set the place to -5, same as wherever you're going, and you want to check relative, and you want to check not. So what you're asking is if the place that you're going to, if it will collide with anything, and only solid objects. That's why we checked the first object to be solid. So now it's going to go to that position, check whether the object's solid. If it is, if there's a solid object there, it won't go there. And that's really simple. Another thing I've got to mention is make sure you, another thing I've got to mention is make sure that that number there, that -5, is the same as this number here. Otherwise, again, it really screws you over. Okay, so that's our left thing. Repeat the process for down, up, right. Make sure that what you can easily do is you can easily just go duplicate event and change it. Be aware that every time you duplicate an event, you have to change change how things work. So left is -x, up is -y, down is positive y, and right is positive x. Remember that. You may think I'm speaking gibberish, but what I'm pretty much saying is to go up, you need to have a negative number on the y-axis, and to go left, you need to have a negative number on the x-axis, and to go right, you just change it to a positive number on the x-axis, and to go down, you just change it to a positive number on the y-axis. Okay, so you got them all set up, right? And now you want to test it. So to test it, you just create a new room. So we add collision objects. Don't forget to add a player object, because otherwise there's no point to your game. So we've got a really bad test room. So now we've got our really basic test room, right? It's a really basic thing. The reason why you can't go over there is it's checking to see if you can go back 5, right? And when you try and go over there, it's saying, well, going that way, we can't go back 5 because the solid's there. However, when you go over here, you can go all the way because it's, yeah. So to change that, it's really simple. You just change it to a number divisible. You just change it to a number that's within the thing that you're using. So if you've got a 16 by 16 grid, you'll want to have a number that is a factor of 6. So that includes 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. 32, that's 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. And yeah. So generally, unless you're using a 10 by 10 grid, you generally don't want to use movements of 5 or 7. Just try and keep it to a factor of what you are using. So that works. There's also something else I wanted to point out, and that's the fact that when you create a sprite, it's got this thing called a collision mask, which is pretty much what dictates whether it's colliding with something. I'm using Chris, aka the Dark Wall, as an example, and I'm going to show you how the collision mask can really screw up your game. So if we go to modify mask, we see that everything that it's a precise mask, and that can be a bit of a problem, because I'll show you why. So we've got Chris here. Chris can move around. He moves around very basically. Now, watch what happens when I move him like that. Alright. His arm stops him from moving down. And that can be a little bit of a problem, especially when you've got an animated sprite. So, whilst we're moving Chris around like that, he collides against things. And, well, his arm collides against things. And in most games, you do not want that. You do not want to have something where a limb collides against something and then your character can't move because a limb's stopping it from moving. You don't want that. That can be annoying to the player. So, how do you fix this? To fix this, you have to go into Modify Mask and you need to change the bounding box, right? And you need to change it from precise to rectangle. So what this is doing is it just puts the image into a rectangle and that's the bounding box, rather than each limb being able to collide with something. It just says, okay, anything within this box collides. And that is very useful in stopping glitches, and I've gotten many glitches from this. So you can also change it to full image, and that will pretty much make everything in the image a bounding box, and that's useful if you want to have a grid which your character moves along, and I use that. But if you just want a platform or something, you can just go automatic, and that will make it pretty cool. You can also change the bounding box to diamond, disc, or precise. Precise is what we were using before, rectangle is what I use. Diamond and disc, I have no idea why people would even contemplate using it. And although it's a wall, so now Chris's limbs don't stop him from moving. One thing that I found is that I prefer to code how things work. And so I'm just going to show you a basic way of, instead of using these drag and drop, how to code moving left. It's actually not as bad as you think, and it's actually a good practice to start coding. So we've got our execute code here. The first thing you want to do is type in an if statement. If is checking something. And so you want to check if there's collision. And how do you do that, you may ask? It's really simple. You can just find it in the Game Maker libraries. But I'm going to tell you how. To make your life simple. Like I've been doing this whole video. Alright. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to check if place empty. Pretty sure that's it. Or place free, one of the two. I'm pretty sure it's place free. We're going to find out anyway. And that pretty much says, well, is there a collision there? If not, then yeah. So we go x plus 5, no, x minus 5, because that's where we're moving to, and then y. You must have those in there, otherwise it will crash. Really simple. Okay, go to the next line and you have these things here. Always use them in your program. Just, you don't have to use them. You can get away without using them. But I just prefer to always have them there. So, if place is free, what do? Well, we go x becomes x minus 5. Magic. It's really simple. But we can make it even simpler. And this is just saying if you don't know any programming skills, right? Instead of going x becomes x minus 5, we will say that x becomes itself minus 5. How does this work? Well, what we're doing is this minus equals, and what this is saying is x. It's like checking a relative button. We're pretty much saying, okay, we're going to take 5 off x, and that's really what it's doing. Plus equals is just adding 5 to x. You can do that for all the other things. If you want to change the Y position, you change that X to a Y. Really simple stuff here. There's a lot of things that you can do with programming. And programming your game is a lot better than just drag and drop, in my opinion. So anyway, that's that episode. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. If you didn't learn something, then I don't know why you're watching it, because it's a basic video on how to program or how to make something really basic. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, share this video to other people that are making games and don't know how to do this stuff, and leave a comment of what you want to know about programming. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.